The colonial elites knew they had a problem. Black slaves and white laborers were teaming up and fighting together against the rich white guys. So they passed those slave codes I talked about last time and gave poor whites a taste of privilege and stripped away rights from black people so that they wouldn't trust each other anymore. And then they used religion to win the trust of the people that should not have trusted them at all. The real divide was between the rich and the poor, but the rich made it between black and white so that they could keep screwing everyone over while blacks and whites were feuding with each other over a few scraps. The colonial elites wanted slaves, and they weren't about to free them just because they converted to Christianity as the Europeans did. So they made laws about making sure they stayed slaves. Nice. And with that, Christianity became their primary tool to control, divide, and conquer. White Christians were told that they were God's chosen people, that their privilege was divine, that America was theirs. Black Christians, slaves, were told to obey, that their suffering made them holy. The questioning was sin. Actually, that's what I was taught too, but it didn't stick with me. And black folks didn't buy it either. I mean, they appreciated the little comfort that came from learning how to cope with being slaves because they were slaves and they had to cope with it. They didn't have a choice. But they didn't buy that it was the whole story. They secretly built churches they called hush harbors and met at night away from the white masters. They blended African religion and Christianity. The Bible stories they focused on were about freedom, like Moses freeing the Israelites, not how to be a better slave. They preached and sang about liberation. They became religious extremists to survive. They had to be able to speak the speak of the white masters, but they needed something that fed their souls. White folks became religious extremists because it padded their egos. Fast forward to today, and now we've got two versions of Christianity. I mean, there's a billion versions of Christianity, but we've got these two that I'm going to talk about. Some black Christians locked into the fear and punishment and the need to be freed for good reason. White churches wrapped their faith around MAGA and white nationalism, and their own egos got conflated with those of the rich tricksters. They think they're part of the elite in crowd, when really they're just pointing the finger of blame in the wrong direction again. Next time, in part 5, I'll talk about Reconstruction and what was promised and how that was stolen. Stay curious.